Yo, good day and welcome to another episode of the RoadFS Software Podcast. It is a beautiful day here in Boise, Idaho.
It's like sunny and almost 60
my
degrees.
Wife's like, "Are you taking a jacket?" I'm like, "No, it's warm. It feels awesome." So
we're all good.
And I actually came home from the gym this morning, and shingles are on my house because I'm getting my house re-roofed, and I was not expecting them to show up this morning. So good thing I had it cleared. So, but anyway,
so today we have our special guest on here from PDP. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're super excited. So, Mike, you and I had the opportunity for the first time ever to sit down together at SEMA, and I just really loved our conversation. And then I go back to edit all to make the TikToks and the reels and the shorts, and I realized our audio didn't work. So I'm like, we got to get him on because the conversation was so really good. And plus we didn't have Mike, so it was just me and you, the other Mike. So we have Mike Dickson and Mike Polosky. So welcome, guys. So let's talk about PDP. You guys have been a standard in the industry for a long time.
Yeah. We started manufacturing in 1983. Of course, we were an auto parts store at the time. We were Ohio Auto Supply. So we started distributing pro products in 1970. My father did. Then in 83, we started to manufacture the PDP line. And the PDP line grew up alongside the auto parts. And to make a long story short, in 2009, we sold off the auto parts. And now we're professional detailing products, not Ohio Auto Supply.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So you've been around a minute. I mean, I think in the pre-show conversation, you said you started in the 80s.
Yeah, I joined my dad in 1980. Mike joined us in 1991. So we were around before detailing was cool. It's cool now, Back then, nobody knew anything about. I mean, it wasn't really a recognized industry at the time. We were calling on dealerships, calling on what shops there were. And mostly dealerships, though. So we learned how to navigate the dealership landscape pretty well in all those decades. Yeah.
Body shops
a little bit. Yeah. Body shops mostly, they did a little bit of detailing, but mostly detail shops and
car washes, leasing companies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So what's the biggest change you guys have seen in your 30, 40 years? I mean, that's 3 decades, right? What's the biggest change, most impactful change that you've seen in the industry?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it is.
I would say the IDA. I joined the IDA board, I think it was 2013. I served for 5 or 6 years. I was president in 2017. Mike was head of the certification committee. But, back in 2013, I think the IDA might have had 100 members, and it was just starting to be considered an industry.
Right.
And it's really gained in visibility and growth, and it just mushroomed, just blossomed.
Yeah. I was well, I'll preview a couple of things for MTE, but I'm actually going to steal something that Keith Duplessis used to do and ask everybody to look at their IDA badge numbers. And some of us that have a 3-digit number have been around a long time. There were not as many active members when I joined as my badge number, but it had been, that many years to where you still had a 3-digit badge number. And I think Keith Duplessis still has it like number 2 or number 3 or something.
Yeah, I think Prentice's is number 7.
Yeah. So it's come a long way. The IDA has come a long way. The recognition of, certified detailer and skills validated detailer, number of RITs and things like that have gone on. So what have you guys seen in the way of product development or product introductions over the last probably 10 or 15 years that you would say is the biggest impact?
Well, I think probably one of the biggest things is how we have products to do every problem we see
Yeah.
for the day. We just introduced a new iron remover that doesn't have any nasty odor to it. And this product is being used in everybody's shop every day now, where 10 years ago we didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Things like that come along and really make the job easier for the detailer. And like Mike said, the IDA, I wanted to add to that, the IDA has really been able to lift these guys up from a position that was a less desirable person in a shop, let's say, to giving them an actual worth. And once the person feels their worth, they go out and do a hell of a job for people.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And for me, I look at it and I say that it used to be, the reason I say body shops, it's kind of where first time I ever picked up, well, let's just call it what it was. It was a giant Black & Decker rotary with a tie on. You guys will understand a tie-on pads you had to stretch around, and then you tied them on, and then when they got all filled up, they'd spin. Oh yeah, that was fun. But I think that is what you said is a really good skunk in a bottle. I think that's a really good innovation is as we get these products that come out, because iron remover is a great product, but everybody hates the smell. PDP friends, there you go.
Yeah, Jacob Renner was really excited that you guys. Yeah, he was super excited that you guys were going to be our guests. So and I love Bob's comment about the product, right? You got to love that skunk in a bottle.
Sure.
And I don't know how you guys got rid of that rancid egg smell. I mean, that's quite the accomplishment.
It was a lot of trial and error, and some luck, but it took a lot of trial and error, and when it happened, we were just as we were as surprised as anybody would be, and it was really cool. And, it's the same sodium thioglycolate solution that is used in just about every iron remover that turns everything purple, or reddish purple. And so it's just that's an additive that neutralizes the smell.
I remember when it happened, we were trying the product out we do training classes a couple times a month, and we were trying the product out, and we almost looked past the fact that there was no smell because everything else that was going on. And then we stopped for a minute, and I remember a few of us getting our noses down to the back of a vehicle and smelling, and I thought that was the funniest thing, and we couldn't smell that skunk smell. It was quite a revelation.
Well, I think that's probably, for me, the last probably 10 to 15 years. It's been the product innovation to make the job easier, faster, and quite honestly, more profitable. You can some of the dilution rates that have come out, and the products, like you said, that are doing specific things for. You can do a 2-step, you can do a 1-step, you can just, some of the compounds and everything is it's so much easier. And I know we all sound like somebody's parents that walked uphill both ways. I remember when. But seriously, back then, when you had to, cut something with a rotary, and then you had to figure out how to now get all that out of it. And, it was you had 1 or 2 options, and that was about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and even back then, if you remember, if we were going to detail a car, and let's say back then it was a 79 LTD. Well, and let's say it was black or red or maroon. You had to cut that whole car. You couldn't leave a panel untouched because it was a totally different color when you were done, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you typically wore that color home with you that day, if you remember.
You definitely wore that color. I like you just take a little bit off the pad and just wipe it on your face like this to get you going in the morning. I'm on the maroon one. Jody's on the black one. So I think it's interesting.
Saving time, effort, and money, because that's just, I don't know if you can see this right. We're in our training center. Optimize. I made this thing, optimize TEM, time, effort, and money.
Yeah, and that's what the idea of a good product company is that you guys are innovating and helping detailers to be able to maximize what they're doing. I mean, right. I remember one time early on, we had a podcast and somebody was asking Levi Gates, how many hours or something like this, how many days does it take you to do a 3-step crush? And he goes, oh my God, if I can't get it done in a couple of hours, you're wasting your time. I mean, you got to get this stuff in and out. This isn't I think we have a tendency to get the perfectionism comes into play, but really this is about expectations and meeting those expectations and exceeding them a little bit so that you can get return business. But this is a business. This car is going to get driven unless you're working on a trailer queen that sits in somebody's glass house and it gets driven once a year to a parade. They're all just cars. So in your product development, do you guys get a say or do you get a hand in it? Because you were talking about when you were sniffing the product, do you guys get to really get your hands in there since you've been involved in it so much?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're it. I mean, with our production manager and our chemist, So absolutely. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, because you guys are coming at it from the supplier side, right? So you're constantly investing in developing new products. You're trying to, improve time and efficiency and help them make more money. What are the things that you guys see from a supplier's perspective that trip up business owners of a detail shop?
Okay. Well, let's think about that for a minute. It's probably mostly the entrepreneurial side of the operation, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I would say so, so that's something that we've always thought the IDA might get a little involved in would be to have seminar, and they do that, seminars about the business side and how to just run generically how to run a successful business, keep track of things and maintain.
Mm-hmm. It's getting better now, but I remember years and years ago, I dealt with a bunch of detail shops in a certain area, and one day when I was making my calls on these shops, they were complaining about one guy being too cheap, and stealing all the business. So I called for a meeting of everybody for lunch, not telling a few of them because they wouldn't show up if I wouldn't. And we sat down and, this is not collusion, but why are you giving this business away? You're losing money. If you're going to detail cars and I think the number was $69. And this is going back a long time, fellas, but everybody said, that's crazy. We're giving that to dealerships. We're giving it to guys off the street. We got to do better than this.
Yeah.
That's Earl. Was it Earl there?
Know your value.
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
It's something the idea has done is help people detailers understand their self-worth. Back, a couple decades ago, it was more about price. Of course, you were talking to dealerships. But, But now people understand the value of a product, and that goes along with the time efficiency, and the profitability too. Is if it saves you time, if it makes your job look better, if you can do it more efficiently, it's all in the value of the product. And I think the detailers are understanding that more and more.
Yeah, I know they are, because when we first started, that's what our whole business surrounds. Software surrounds itself with trying to make more people efficient and get their job out so that they're not answering the phone while they're doing a detail. Let the software work for you. And people didn't understand the value of that. And now we have people that are asking us for enhancements because they see the value in it. And I think that's really a important part of that, is that when people see that, you know, I was joking when you were saying $69.95, I was saying, was that Earl Scheib doing details? But there can only be one Earl Scheib, right? I mean, they're famous for having the cheapest paint job in the world, and everybody knows it's crap.
$200.
But if you're trying to compete with the Earl Scheibs of the world, you're not going to make it.
Right.
Robert Wasserman, I remember when I started, most of the detail shops were just old gas stations. All you needed was car wash sign and put out in the road in a bucket and a wash mitt, and you're in business. Exactly.
Well, and I think to Bob's point, I think we still have a bit of that, right?
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
becoming a detail business is actually pretty easy if you want to go the cheap route, right?
Yep.
But I think a lot of kind of what Mike P was alluding to is the entrepreneurship of really trying to create a thriving business, not just washing cars, is completely different, right? And I was just having a discussion with the detailer on the East Coast, and he said, you know, I've really struggled this year because there have been 13 new shops open, and they're coming in and they're offering an interior detail for $69. And he goes, I won't even look at an interior detail for less than 200, right? Because there's so many nooks and crannies, and, you know, sometimes you got to pull the seats out and all that. He goes, it just doesn't make sense, right? So to Mike D's point is, you know, one of the things that the IDA has done is to help elevate the value in the mind of the business owner of what they're bringing to the table. The next challenge I see is that the business owners struggle with how to articulate that value in a way that's compelling.
Right. They've got to have a good story, and everybody has a story. Everybody has a little bit of a different story, obviously. And you've got to be able to tell your story, you know, and like you say, articulate the value of it.
Yeah, and then to Joel's point, people invest in who they trust, and I think that's the thing with detailers now, is build that trust and build a. You know, Jody and I, for a long time, we looked at our industry, and everybody was chasing price, and we finally just went, this is ridiculous. Let somebody else do it for $20 a month. I don't care. I don't want that client. I don't want somebody that wants to be that cheap. And that's the only way to put it, is if they're worried about, you know, $2 or $3 here or there instead of quality, I would rather spend in my personal life, I would rather spend a little more money and get the quality,
Right,
and have it last longer or whatever than buy the cheapest thing on the market and have it die, you know? And so I think that's the difference between somebody that buys like professional grade tools or goes to Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's good for stuff that you don't care about. But if you want,
and it also applies to service too. I mean, you know, if you deliver fast, if you have expert help, if people take care of your needs, you know, on a daily basis, that's important too.
And I think part of that comes into education, which you guys have a training center there, which is fabulous because it shows people how to use not only your products. I'm sure you show other people's products and how to use them in general. Absolutely. But you know, and you know, Joel jumped on here. We're actually going to the Aegis training this weekend,
leaving tomorrow,
Wisconsin, to look at, you know, new innovative products there as well. And I think that the key to people in this industry now is that education. There's so many opportunities to go meet you guys, talk to you guys, get the expertise of you guys that have been doing this for, you know, over 25, 30 years. And we get to get our hands on stuff. I mean, MTE's coming up, you know, you get to literally go meet all these people that have been doing this forever. You can get your hands on the products. You can actually feel, touch, smell, or not smell in your case. But I think that's important for people to do that. And I watch people that are questioning whether they should go to these events. And I look at it and I'm like, man, that's the only way to go learn this stuff.
And once they get it, once they do it, then they're hooked.
Yeah.
But that, you're right. And convincing them to go and network and learn and be face-to-face, you know, that nothing replaces face-to-face, you know, YouTube or social media.
Yeah.
But back when we built this is a 4,000 square foot training center, 50-person classroom, 2 bays, you know, all state-of-the-art lighting. all the tools you want to try.
Yeah.
We pulled it and we added on to our facility in 2015. And at the time, in 2015, there wasn't as much buzz about training. There was some, but not a lot, So
Yeah.
it took a little leap of faith to make that investment, but it's been well worth it.
Yeah, and I think that that's a perfect statement for people that are thinking about going to a training. It takes a little bit of a leap of faith. You got to shut down your shop. We got Jacob Renner's been watching this. Jacob was at a training we were at, and it was a lot of information. I mean, you can ask him. It was a cram-packed full couple of days, but it was really worth it. And I have never, even as long as we've been doing this, I've never been to a training where I haven't learned something, a new technique, saw a new product that blew my mind, just all over the country, the world, everywhere that we go. And Jody and I get to go to a lot of facilities. We're very, very lucky in that aspect. But we see new techniques and new trainings, and we, every time we go to one, it just seems like the level of education and information goes up. And you guys that are investing in huge training facilities, that's a big investment for a company to put together a 4,000 square foot training facility. So is your training schedule on your website so people can go see it?
Sure. Yeah. Now, right now we've got to update it for the next quarter. I believe we just we're going to have our last class of the year next week, and we've been busy installing a new ERP. So we'll get that up soon.
Yep. So we've got the website scrolling down below, so people can go there and look for the upcoming year in 2024. Look for some trainings.
We have normally we have 3 classes every month. Detail start to finish, ceramic coatings, and advanced polishing techniques. So that's the curriculum that we have. It's and then of course it's geared. We have small classes, 6-to-1 student ratio at the most. So and usually it's less. So it's geared to the skills of who's attending, and it's very one-on-one.
Yeah,
so did I hear that correct? You have 3 a month?
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, that provides a lot of opportunity for somebody to come to PDP. And I mean, dude, you could pick 1 a month and have 3 trainings in a quarter, right? I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. We had a young lady from Utah come to our last one. She's coming to our next one also.
That's
great.
awesome.
Great. But we've been doing an annual seminar. I believe this will be our 25th year. We think when we started counting, we think it was 1997 when we started doing it. And at the time it was a thank you day for our customers. Plus, we're so passionate about new products, introducing new products every year. And so that was an opportunity for us to show what was new. And so that's kind of a tradition here at PDP. We always have
when
that.
do you do that?
That's in the spring, right?
March 19th, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and
25 years, 25th anniversary.
Yeah, Mike invited us to
diamond
go.
rings. So
and you guys will be there. So
Mike invited us.
Yeah, the 3,250th person that signs up gets a diamond ring.
there you go.
There you go.
In addition to that training, we do RoadFS training, flex training. We had Lake Country here last year, G-Technic. We try to get all our manufacturers that want to participate to come in and have a day, be with potential customers and show what they got. It's
And these are great. Like we said, these events are great. Jody and I are involved in a lot of them. Like I said, we're going to one this weekend. Apparently we're going to be there in March because I'm going to get that diamond ring. And I think it's awesome to see that, because the more you go to, the more you pick up on techniques. I could watch, Jason Rose do a RoadFS training all day long. And then when I turn around and have Sarah do a training with the same product, I pick up something different every single time, whether it's Todd or Prentice or any of the trainers that they have. Same thing with Flex, working with Chris Metcalf and the Flex team. So I think it's great if people do that and they move around and get it from different people. I mean, I remember one time going to back in the day, and I sat with Mike Phillips and we were talking about machine sanding. It was when this, everybody still wanted to hand sand everything. And he had a little 3-inch polisher in his machine sanding, and he didn't know me from Adam. And we were working on a black 1965 Mustang trunk. And so I took this little 3-inch polisher and I started going back and forth, and I was making a pretty good pattern, and I had a pretty good slurry going. And then I'd move over here, and he literally looks at me and he goes, "You know what you're doing? Get out of here. Give somebody else a chance." So, I think that's good because the trainers can recognize. That's the thing. And Mike and I have talked a lot. He's a really great guy, but the thing about that is you have to understand, as trainers, you guys can see that you understand, like you mentioned it, Mike, is you train to the level of the people that are in the class. If you have advanced people in the class, you can do advanced stuff. If I have Jacob in a class, he's teaching metal polishing. I'm not, because that guy can do it in his sleep.
Really good.
I think his young daughter, right? I can, but everybody has to understand that everybody's at a different level. And I think that really, as a key to kind of tie that all together where my brain was going, that is the problem with internet training. You don't understand what everybody's level is. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is so basic. This is ridiculous." Well, they have to start at a level. So face-to-face training is it's absolutely my favorite. There's no way you can learn to do something without your hands on it. The internet's great, but the face-to-face training is the way to go. So, PDP training, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And we're looking forward to coming out. Yes.
Mike is the trainer, and Mike, like you said, we were talking about the other innovation in the last 20 years that when you started out talking about that would have to be the polishers,
Oh yeah. Oh,
I mean, that just took everything to the next level and opened it up for so many more people to come in. Because, we've been doing it, when they had, like you say, the DeWalt's and the Makitas only. And, they didn't even have, we started before there were paint sealants, believe it or not.
Wow.
Really? Oh,
yeah. The other thing that I think is exciting is the battery technology.
Sure.
Combined, you're having huge advancements in the polishers, but the things that I'm seeing with the battery technology, dude, that Ego pressure washer and the Ego vacuum, dude, you get so much power and you can move around. It's just amazing. So.
Yeah, I think that, and again, it's back to your board there, Mike, is with you're providing efficiency and time and making money. If I don't have to walk back and forth 57 times, and I think that's what I really appreciate about a lot of the trainings is trainers understand that. And so when you go to a training without even saying anything, this is my free tip. Everybody gets this for free today. When you go to a training, watch how the trainer has their stuff set up. They may not tell you, but the trainers have it set up for efficiency. So when you go to a training and there's got a cart and they have their ceramic towels are different colors and they're set 1, 2, 3, or they've got their applicator pad sitting there and it's on another towel. Key into that stuff, because I watch that kind of stuff as a trainer sets up. We were in Nathan Warren's shop doing a boat training. Nathan doesn't just cut into a boat and start. He has all of his stuff laid out and he has it set up to be efficient. And so
it's just natural to them. That's where I was going with that. Mike's seen it all. So when somebody comes to one of Mike's classes, you just absorb so much just by like you say, by being here in person.
So is PDP a RIT training center?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I'll brag here. We were the first recognized in the world, our recognized training center.
I actually knew that. That's why I asked the question. I was just trying to give you guys a bit of kudos, right? Because, not only have you guys been around for a few decades, right? The thing that I'm really impressed by the PDP team is your legacy as far as a product company is really strong, but your legacy in trying to lead and innovate and help with entities like the IDA is also a legacy. And I think that's really, it says a lot about the PDP family and the mission that you guys are trying to do. It's not just about making a buck. It's about how do I help the detail industry, the detail business owner advance in their growth, because as they grow, you guys grow it. And I really see that across your team.
Thank you. Thank you. My dad instilled that in me, and, the service to the customer is everything. Look at it as a long-term relationship. And we've always been about that. And when the IDA came along, it was just natural for us to go that way.
Well, that's super awesome. Well, you have any final wrap-up questions? I know we got some cool things going on, though.
Okay,
go ahead.
So if you come to MTE, we have these special one-only
Orlando MTE stickers.
You can get one of those, limited edition. I know that's really exciting. So you got to do that.
Hey, that is exciting, because I know we hit it out of the park when my 22-year-old daughter saw me designing them, and she goes, "Oh, I want one of those." So they're cool.
So they're cool. And then the other thing is get in touch with PDP, because if you guys didn't know that was one of the things we wanted to highlight, is that just the length of time that you guys have been recognized as a leader in the training industry. And I guarantee you, I did not see the sign behind Mike where it was all about the time efficiency and money. I did not see that, but that's something that's key to us.
Yes.
We have the same philosophy where you take care of the customer and you want everybody to come in. So, we really appreciate you guys coming on. It's been great talking to you guys. Apparently we're going to see you in March, which is awesome. We'll be doing some live stuff from there. And get out, sign up for some trainings, go do some things, get out of your shop and go learn something and help your entrepreneurial spirit get charged back up.
That's awesome. Well, thank you too. We appreciate you very much taking the time. So
our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys live this weekend.
Yes, we will be live.
We're actually going to be doing a training, so you'll see us with our hands dirty.
Yes, so we are getting our hands dirty at IGL with Mike Carlin. So my son is going with us, Ashton. He is, dude, I cannot tell you how over the top he is excited. Every day. Literally every day the last 2 weeks he's come home. Dad, are you excited? Dad, are you excited? So he's looking forward to the IGL training. So we'll be hopping on a plane tomorrow, going live here and there. And then next week, I can't even remember who our guest is next week. But
we'll have somebody on and it'll be awesome. And then we'll see you guys at MTE and everybody there. So
so we will check you guys same time, same bad channel, just next week.
See ya.
All right, guys.